Yeah, can you see this screen? Submerged arc welding.
Yes, sir.
Uh, the short form is SAW, SAW, hacksaw ka saw. Yes, my dear friends, can anybody explain this? Now you are smart enough to understand. Anyone? You have to try. You should not feel shy or you should not fear. I was the worse than you. You people are at least far, far better than me. Anyone? Yeah, Peter D'Souza, you want to try?
Sorry, here in submerged it means it's under
Speak a
uh,
bit loudly. Huh?
in
Take your
submerged
mic.
it means
Submerge
hello
means
sir,
डूबा हुआ.
but inside the flux.
Yes, yes. Inside the flux. Exactly. You got it. That means. हो गया.
Okay.
अभी क्या बचा है? बोलो अभी. Speak for around 20-25 seconds.
In submerged arc welding,
Hmm.
instead of in normal arc welding, some another gas is used so that the metal doesn't react. Here, the flux is used so that it's not welded, new freshly welded portion is not in contact with the atmosphere. So continuously a hopper is used to put flux over the area which has to be welded, and then using current and electrode wire, area is welded inside while being covered within the flux to avoid contact with the outside atmosphere. And after the welding is done, the unused flux is removed by another tube.
Very good. Very good. So here you have two things. That is, one is electrode wire which is continuously moving, and another is flux which is also continuously being dropped. And flux is just to protect from atmosphere, that is just to protect it from formation of oxides. And this is mostly it is automated. Wire is continuously being fed, and this machine through which the wire is moving at the same time flux that moves across the weld automatically. So that saves time also, it is safe also, and there is no labor also. So it is, the labor content is also less. At the same time you get good accuracy also, and it is fast. So most, it's not necessary that it should be used for rectangular component. It can be used even for a round component also, like say pressure vessels. If you want to make a huge pressure vessels, like say Larsen and Toubro, they are making for process plants like Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers. So they need Bharat Petroleum. They need huge pressure vessels, and L&T, they have technology to make pressure vessels. Now, pressure vessel is nothing but a round component, like your boiler, your geyser. Hmm. So length is more. So you don't get, suppose if the length of this pressure vessel is say 5 meters, you cannot get a sheet of 5-meter width so that it can be rolled into round. So you will get 1 meter, 1 meter ka sheets. So you roll 1 meter ka sheet into round, you roll another 1 meter ka sheet into round, and then you join those two rounds by submerged arc welding. So like that, you will have 4 joints if you are using 5 plates, and then at the end you have a dish ends, which is nothing but hemisphere. So that's how a complete pressure vessel is made. Now here the welding is very important. Quality of the welding is very very important, because as the name suggests, pressure vessel, it is subjected to the pressure. Inside there are hot fluids or hot gases, so there should not be any leakage. So these welded joints are tested for radiographic testing, because if there are any leakage of gas or liquid, so it will come out with the pressure, and then whoever is around, it can prove fatal to them. So a good quality weld is expected, radiographic quality, and submerged arc welding is the best option for this. This is what the equipment is, submerged arc welding का. This is the flux, this is the setup, and the arc is fed through this. तो जो आपको रेड दिख रहा है ना, that is nothing but welding is going on, and you get a very clean welding. These are some advantages of the flux. That flux promotes deep penetration of heat into the workpiece. What is the meaning of spatter? This is what the spatter is. That is a defect. It prevents spatter and sparks and suppresses the intense ultraviolet radiations. So spatter matlab this is always for the spatter, which is common in arc welding. The flux it can be reused or it can be recycled also. Most of the time saw is automatic, and these are the speeds 5 meters per minute. You can go this much high. Of course itna speed nahi rehta hai, but definitely you can go up to half a meter per minute. Now you have to study this. This is gas metal arc welding. Huh? So try to understand this diagram properly. This is gas metal arc welding, or it is also called as the MIG welding, or the full form of MIG is metal inert gas. Metal inert gas. Not only you observe the drawing, you also read the text also, so that you understand.
The second point where it is written that the bare wire is fed automatically through a
Nozzle.
nozzle. वो वाला पार्ट वो डायग्राम में समझा नहीं मतलब वो
Bare wire मतलब
वो
in
solid wire
welding,
है.
in welding there is always a filler material.
हाँ सर.
So ये जो filler material है, that is in the form of bare wire, मतलब naked wire. Like suppose if you are doing a welding of say MS mild steel, so you will need a MS wire without any insulation. That is what is called as the bare wire. The red color, ये जो है ना, this solid wire electrode,
wire electrode.
this,
That should be of
and
the same
that
metal
is
as
what
the
is
big.
getting melted and getting deposited, and it is surrounded by a inert gas. So that's why the name is metal inert gas. Metal ka filling and surrounded by inert gas. So inert gas helps in shielding, and it protects the welding from your oxygen, because atmosphere mein there are oxygen, and if As oxygen interacts with this, then oxides will form, and then your weld will also become brittle. So that's why the shielding of the gas is required. And for the shielding, mostly inert gases are used, like 2818 वाला 2, that is helium, बराबर ना? argon का कितना है atomic number?
8.
8. And then carbon dioxide, that is, I don't know, CO2 is a inert gas. Hello?
Ah, sir.
Ah. So that's why the name metal inert gas.
Understood, sir.
Understood? Yeah. Now you explain, speak on this. Yeah, please continue.
Sir, can you
Yeah.
present the diagram? It will be better.
Yeah. ये एनिमेटेड वाला कौन है ये? बी?
Uh, पता नहीं सर, मैं देखता हूँ.
पता है नहीं? ओके, ठीक है, मैं प्रेजेंट कर दूँ. हाँ,
Sir, so basically, in order to prevent
थोड़ा लाउडली, थोड़ा माइक थोड़ा नजदीक दे दो.
oxygen from atmospheric oxygen to interact with the base metal,
टू
metal inert
रिएक्ट. हाँ.
gas welding is used,
हम्म.
and the gases used are mostly are helium, argon, and carbon dioxide of this nature. The consumable bare wire, which is of the same material as the base metal,
Very good.
uh, as is present, and this base wire is melted with the help of the current conductors and
हेलो.
yes sir, हाँ.
या हाँ बोलो. यू स्टॉप नो.
Yes sir. uh, उसके बाद सर shielding gases, in order to prevent oxidation, the metal itself is added with some deoxidizers wo, whose natures are not yet specified, and multiple weld layers can be deposited at the joint in order to improve its strength of the weld, and ताकि easily fracture भी ना हो.
ओके, गुड. So you are not left anything for me. So it is gas metal arc welding. It is also called as the metal inert gas, and sometimes it is also called as the TIG also, TIG welding. So the full form of TIG is tungsten inert gas. If the filler wire which is being used here is of tungsten, then it is tungsten inert gas, TIG. In most of the cases, the shielded gas used is argon. That's why it is also called as the argon welding in layman's language. मेरे पास argon welding है, means he can do MIG, he can do TIG also. If he is using tungsten wire, then he means to say tungsten inert gas. Again, this can be automated. This is the setup. ये आपका फिलर वायर है. If this wire is made up of tungsten, then it is called as the tungsten inert gas. This is the setup. Just have a look on this setup.
Sir, why is the gas being supplied to the feed control system and why not to the gun directly? I mean, we can regulate the pressure inside the gas container as well. No?
If you want to have a very fine control, see, you can have regulators here also, but this is like a rough setting. Okay, and if you need a very fine control, like sometimes the weldings are very critical and accurate and precise. So for that, you need to have another feed control system wherein you can control the volume as well as pressure also precisely. वर्नियर कैलिपर देखा है वर्नियर कैलिपर
हाँ सर देखा है.
हाँ वर्नियर कैलिपर में यू कैन स्लाइड द जॉ बराबर है मूविंग जॉ
हाँ सर.
then you clamp it at a one position and there is another screw that is called the fine adjustment screw बराबर है
हाँ वो ही एरर मेजर करता है.
हाँ तो फाइन एडजस्टमेंट से क्या होता है यू कैन मूव इट वेरी बाय स्मॉल अमाउंट और जो
Yes, sir.
स्लाइड करते हैं उसमें हम लोग क्या करते हैं उसको 1-2 मिलीमीटर में लाके रख देते हैं और बाद में लिटिल फाइन एडजस्टमेंट दैट इज प्रेशर वगैरह जो अगर अपने को एडजस्ट करना है वर्क पीस के ऊपर सो दैट इज डन बाय फाइन एडजस्टमेंट स्क्रू
Understood.
okay so you have a workpiece here and this is a gun so this was the setup from examination even if you don't draw the setup but that is okay but you have to draw the upper wala sketch again there is no spatter this is little in detail this much detail is not required so अभी सबमर्ज आर्क वेल्डिंग हो गया सबमर्ज आर्क वेल्डिंग में you have flux then you have gas metal arc welding or MIG or TIG you can go through these advantages disadvantages अभी ये TIG है हाँ see now you will get confused huh so that's why I'm asking you to read and understand
सर इसमें फिलर वायर फीड मैनुअली होता है कि इज देयर
it
अनदर
can be automated also manually नहीं रहता है most of the times it is automatic only हाँ जो filler wire है that is ये जो है फिलर वायर हाँ इट कैन बी ऑटोमेटेड बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम इट इज ये जो फिलर वायर है दैट इज फेड मैन्युअली ऐसा रहता है हाँ नॉट ऑटोमेटिक फिलर वायर and then you have a tungsten electrode okay. Now you have to understand the function of this tungsten electrode what is the use of this tungsten electrode
which it helps in maintaining a constant current level, stable arc basically.
stable arc because for creating an arc you need 2 electrodes correct जो अब हम लोग जो मैन्युअली आर्क वेल्डिंग करते हैं वहाँ पे जो फिलर रॉड रहता है जो मैनुअल आर्क वेल्डिंग देखा है ना अपना नॉर्मल
हाँ सर
जो होल्डर में हम लोग पकड़ते हैं सो दैट वायर और दैट is itself a electrode and then workpiece is another electrode पॉजिटिव, एक पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव दूसरा। हियर ये जो फिलर वायर है ना, इसको हम लोग इलेक्ट्रिकल सप्लाई नहीं देते, अंडरस्टैंड। दिस वर्कपीस इज कनेक्टेड to electricity, electric supply, and then this tungsten electrode is connected to electric supply. Okay, so this is non consumable, ये consume नहीं होता है। Consumable is filler wire. The filler wire will depend upon the metal to be welded. It has to be same composition of that of base metal or the parent metal which is to be welded. Is this clear, Siddharth?
Sir, समझा.
समझा? Can you repeat what I said?
Sir, the filler wire is not supplied with electric current. Instead, the tungsten wire is maintained at a constant. It's fed a constant electric supply, and which helps in a stable arc. Basically.
Very good. And then tungsten electrode is non-consumable, whereas
Non-consumable.
filler wire is consumable.
Whereas in the previous method, both of them helped in producing a arc.
कौन सा previous method? Yeah. MIG.
MIG में पढ़ा है.
Because this is a common question. Explain the difference between MIG and TIG. MIG में metal inert gas. Okay. So इसमें क्या? Both are consumable. कौन सा both are consumable इसमें?
The tungsten solidified wire electrode as well as the base metal. मतलब
हाँ, इसमें there is no tungsten wire, no, my dear. There is
नहीं tungsten wire नहीं. हाँ.
इधर जो filler material है, that itself is a electrode. That itself is a solid wire जो रहता है.
हाँ सर हाँ.
That is of the composition that of base metal. डाउट है तो पूछो प्लीज, डोंट फील शाय.
No sir, we can continue. एक बार हम notes refer कर लेंगे तो we can.
हाँ, तो so this is what is your tungsten inert gas. तो this ये है वो आपका filler है, and this is gun. This is the setup. ये आपका फिलर रॉड है. दिस फुट पेडल, इसमें अभी होता क्या है कि इसमें ये बोथ द हैंड्स आर एंगेज, करेक्ट नो?
Yes sir, with the filler material.
हाँ, बिकॉज एक हाथ से आप फिलर रॉड पकड़ रहे हो, दूसरे हाथ से आपका गन है या टॉर्च. So in this case, suppose if you want to operate the machine, switch on, switch off वगैरह करना है. So for that, you have foot pedal. Okay, so with the help of foot, you can control the welding machine, AC or DC. AC DC welding machines are more common. You will see in most of the small scale companies, AC/DC welding, because AC/DC welding is useful for doing all kinds of welding. Aluminum welding बोलो, brass बोलो, bronze बोलो, MS बोलो, all types. These are the advantages and disadvantages, and I don't want to read it. H is equal to I square RT. Can anybody tell me what is this?
Heat losses sir. Heat generated due to an electric current.
Because of the current.
Current.
And resistance.
Resistance.
Right? So what is I, what is R, what is T?
Current, resistance or temperature.
Current, resistance and temperature. So the heat is a function of current, resistance and temperature. Like आपका electric iron press is 3.
Yes,
So
sir.
resistance welding में it is the same principle. Heat which is generated in resistance welding, it is given by the expression that is H is equal to I square RT. H is in joules. What is the unit of heat? Another unit of heat?
Calories.
Good. Calorie. And how do you convert calorie and joules?
4.18.
That is what is called the mechanical equivalent of heat, J. Good. So, what are the types of the resistance welding? We have spot welding, flash welding, resistance butt welding, seam welding. Out of this, you have to only study spot welding for your examination point of view. Spot welding. Resistance welding is most common in automobile vehicles. इसका स्ट्रेंथ थोड़ा कम रहता है रेजिस्टेंस वेल्डिंग and spot welding is most common followed by seam welding but matlab if the two plates are joined when they are placed in opposite direction and lap matlab when they are kept one above other. So please go through this figure. Spot welding. अटेंडेंस कितना है आज 29 30 के ऊपर जाता ही नहीं. I'll just drink water and come.
Yes, sir.
Can anybody explain me this one? Siddharth or Chirag?
Chirag.
Pednekar?
So,
Chirag.
Chirag, you want to explain?
yes, sir.
Yeah, बोलिए.
Your spot welding means welding is done at different spots,
Very good.
and
Correct. That
welding
is
is
the first sentence. That is perfect.
and uh, heat is converted. Electricity is converted in heat, and that's how spot welding is done at different spots.
Most important is pressure also. huh? You have to apply the pressure also.
Okay, sir, but why pressure is required?
हाँ सिद्धार्थ, can you just tell me why pressure is required यहाँ पे?
Pressure is required to keep to hold the two metal pieces together, na?
Very good. To hold the two materials as well as to hold the electrodes also. The
Electrode.
pressure will be required.
हाँ,
Okay, Chirag?
Yes, I understood. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so first you have to hold plates, and remember this is what is being shown in the diagram, that is a lap joint. एक के ऊपर एक. This is used mostly for welding sheet. You understand sheet, no? Sheet metals, and not for the plate or not for the flat. See, it is
Plates का thickness
something
sheet
like
से ज़्यादा होता है ना सर?
पहला क्या रहता है, स्ट्रिप. स्ट्रिप मतलब क्या रहता है, जिसका कि थिकनेस लेस देन 5 mm रहते हैं ना, उसको हम लोग स्ट्रिप बोलते हैं और शीट बोलते हैं. लेकिन स्ट्रिप में द विड्थ इज लेस, जनरली 25 mm, और जो शीट है उसमें विड्थ इज मोर. शीट, ड्राइंग शीट, बराबर ना. सो इट हैज अ लेंथ एज वेल एज विड्थ. ड्राइंग शीट को हम लोग ड्राइंग स्ट्रिप नहीं बोलते, वी डोंट कॉल इट एज अ स्ट्रिप, दैट इज कॉल्ड द शीट, ड्राइंग शीट. 2000 by 1000. So 2000 length, 1000 width. This is the sheet. Thickness maximum 5 mm. Whereas strip में it will be 2000 long, but the width will be 25 mm. And then you have उसके ऊपर जो रहता है वो flat and plate. Plate में plate is a kind of a sheet only, but उसका thickness ज़्यादा रहता है. More than 5 mm, 10 mm, 25 mm, 50 mm. So 2000 by 1000 by 50 mm, we will say plate and we will not say sheet. And flat is nothing but a strip only, but flat में क्या रहेगा, thickness ज़्यादा रहेगा, 10 mm. Like say 2000 by 25 by 10, we will not call it as a strip, we will call it as a flat. So spot welding is used for sheet metals, 2000 by 1000, or here the top view is not shown, so there will be a series of spots across the width of the two sheet metals. So it's a lap joint process, and this is how you will get a nugget. So the nugget here, tips of two opposing solid, हाँ ये तो हो गया. In order to obtain a strong bond in the weld nugget is this. Pressure is applied, so it's not only for holding the electrodes or holding the plates, but also for the weld nugget. Then in resistance welding, you have fixed timing and you have fixed current and fixed pressure also. There are again mathematical models for weld nugget, that is depending upon the strip thickness you can decide upon the nugget size, and once the nugget size is designed, then you can calculate the current, resistance and time. So the weld nugget and the number of nuggets across the width will determine the strength, and once you have the weld nugget, then you will determine the current and time. Current also depends on the material and obviously on the thickness also. These are the two electrodes, that is this and this, and they are made up of copper alloys because it has good conductivity and hot strain. Hot strain मतलब क्या? They will not erode away because of the temperature. This is the cross section which is showing the weld nugget and the heat affected zone. Mostly, as I told, it is used in automotive body shop. And this is the setup. So the welder, the spot welder, he will have a gun. This is a gun. Okay. And this is a foot pedal. यहाँ से आपका मटेरियल आएगा which is to be spot welded. This perpendicular to the screen of my computer will be fed. Perpendicular to the direction of feeding will be perpendicular to the screen. So moment it is positioned, desired position, he will just press the foot pedal and electrode will move down, and this downward motion can be hydraulic or can be pneumatic also. This diagram is not required. ये पूरा mechanism examination point of view. See, not required मतलब ऐसा मत बोलो कि सर बोले कि not required. Not required मतलब examination में for the current course of production processes. But if you can draw this, you can get good marks. Yeah. And then once you press the foot pedal, then this will come down. Then hold it for a desired time. The time is also controlled. Okay. Then leave the foot pedal, and this will move up. And this is how the spot welding will occur. This is what I was talking across. Okay. So the metal is fed like this. It is not continuous, but it is at some intervals. That is what is called the pitch. So depending upon the thickness and depending upon the strength, desired strength, you decide. And then accordingly the material is fed. So you can have automatic feeding, and these are tailor-made. These spot welding machines, these are all tailor-made. That is what is the requirement, and accordingly the machines are made. Most of the automobile shops, spot welding is done unmanned or by robots. So the robots are used for loading, unloading, loading and then spot welding, and for unloading and again loading the next component. So it is totally unmanned. These are the fixtures on which the material to be spot welded is carried out. Now this is one fixture from here to here. How many components are being spot welded? This is one. ये पूरा one है. This is second. This is third, and this is fourth. 1, 2, 3, and 4. एक component के ऊपर there are 6 robots working. This is one component, 1, 2, and 3. 6 robots are working on one component. So that means there are 6 spot welding guns. If you want to read flash welding, you can read it for additional knowledge, but this will be something beyond syllabus. This is somewhat similar to your friction welding. So if you want to do end-to-end welding of solid rods or tubular parts, मतलब दो solid rod आपको चिपकाने हैं end to end, और अगर आपको pipe या tubes, if you want to weld it, then you have to go for this process, flash welding. Flash is something which is nothing but the extra material which flows along the parting surface. So here, this is the parting surface along which the flash is flowing outward, and there will be a slight bulging of the material along the parting surface because of the flash. Because the molten metal is expelled or ooze out. Then if you want, you can machine this. So basically it is used for end-to-end or edge-to-edge joining of round tubes or even sheets also. End-to-end अगर आपको join करना है तो. So kind of a, we can say butt joints, BUTT. This has been prepared exhaustively because earlier this welding itself was one subject for a semester. So I will also share questions for study because I understand it is so vast and you cannot prepare. It is totally impossible. These are the parts, which can be, prepared by flash welding. Some design guidelines, like obviously suppose this and this is to be flash welded, then it is obvious that instead of going for so thick, that is, cross-sectional changes are quite a large. So it is advisable that you make same cross-section. So this component, it is thick. Maybe let's say if this is 100 and this is 25, so it is not advisable. So you have to reduce this 100 to 25 for some small amount of length. This is a solid rod and this is your tube. So here again it is advisable that try to make the cross-sectional area same. Again in flash welding you have light contact and you have solid contact. So if the contact pressure is less, then it is flash. If the contact pressure is more, then it is upset butt welding. And if there is a gap, air gap, then it is percussion welding. But don't, I mean, for examination point of view, you can skip this upset butt welding as well as percussion welding also. Just remember flash welding as one of the type of the resistance welding. So butt matlab samne samne, like this butt welding. Yeah, this is seam welding. It is automatic. It is used now. जैसे कि हम लोग spot welding देखे, so spot welding is done at some patches or pitches at say frequent distances, say 100 mm, 200, whereas seam welding is continuously. Like this is one component and this is another component, they are seam welded pura. So this is a nugget. Now here the weld nugget will be continuous. देखो how it is, This is what is seam welded throughout. Again, don't go in so much of detail, examination point of view. Again, there are different types of welding, like cold welding, roll bonding, friction welding, explosion welding, diffusion welding, ultrasonic welding. These are the, you know, these weldings are classified from the point of mechanism which is used for doing the welding. These are the features of the seam welding. Roll bonding is not there in the syllabus, but you must have heard about bimetallic strip. So bimetallic strips means of two different metals. So there this roll bonding is used. This is the principle of bimetallic strip. Friction welding में due to the friction the components get welded, and mostly these are friction welding is used for round components, rotating components, round rotating components. Like these two, they have to be welded and both are rotated, and then the force is applied and they get welded. Of course, there will be a flash. This is the principle of friction welding. Again, you have various types in friction welding: high pressure, low speed, low pressure, high speed, and trade-off. Trade-off matlab pressure and speed, which is neither high nor low. Friction stir welding you can skip. I'm going to upload, so if anybody is interested, definitely he can go through. Explosive welding. So diffusion welding, and this we will see in the next class. Okay.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay. So I think I think we will be meeting after
15th
5 or
question.
15th, no? So just remember,
Explosive welding, हाँ sir.
Siddharth.
हाँ sir.
Okay, so I wish you all of you nice and happy Ganesh Chaturthi, Ganesh Utsav.
Wish you the same,
Same
sir.
to you, sir.
Yeah.
Wish you the same.
Thank you. Thank you so much. God
Thank you,
bless you.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.